Hiya, it's Siobhan here again, the Galloping Housewife. Yesterday seemed to go quite well and a few of you appreciated it, so I thought I'd be back here today and continue on. As you know, this is my drive from home to the yard. It's a little bit later than I'd like to today, but that's shit. When you're working for yourself, there's always something more that can be done, it actually takes a little bit to be able to put that aside and actually create some boundaries and figure out when you're going to stop work and do the things that you need to do. So obviously in my case it's going and playing with my ponies, so I thought I'd just sort of carry on a little bit. I wanted to talk about being ordinary, and I say this a lot. I say this a lot in my posts, and I say it on, it's the catchphrase of the Galloping Housewife, is that ordinary is a superpower. So I just wanted to expand on that a little bit more, because people think I'm being a little bit facetious about this, but I'm really not. I mean, there are so many things, so many assets to being ordinary. There's so many things that if you are averagely talented, and averagely well off and from an average background, that the world is actually built for us ordinary people. We are the mean, so it's up to us to take advantage of that. So there's things like with the horses, being averagely talented, and people look at my achievements and go, she must have been better than average. She must have had some ability. And I mean, there's people out there that have known me all my life, and they will tell you in no uncertain terms that there was nothing special about me and my ability as a kid. I didn't automatically have an affinity with horses. I was not very nervous, but I was pretty nervous as a child. I very rarely did anything of any note, but being average meant that I didn't have any preconceived ideas. There was no path for me to follow. There was no expectations on me. And it also meant that if I was going to do anything, I had to learn. I had to figure it out. I had to make it happen. And so therefore I became really good at figuring out what I needed to learn, at actually going out there and putting together a program and figuring out how I could make the next step and the next step and the next step. And also from not having a great deal of money behind me. I'm not going to deny. I came from my family of farmers, ended up with being farm owners, I certainly didn't have a destitute background, but that is the story of most of us that are horse riders. If we have the resources to ride horses at all, none of us are on the bones of our ass. There's no two ways about this, and we really need to acknowledge that privilege. But I certainly didn't have money thrown at me. I didn't have a big sponsor. I had to make do with horses. But again, that creates a resourcefulness. That means that I pay attention to what I spend my money on. I make conscious decisions as to whether I'm going to have 4 lessons with the more expensive trainer or 10 lessons with the cheaper one. It means that I make choices as to what gear I'm going to buy. It means that if I have a problem with my horse, I have to figure it out because I cannot afford a new one. So there is that. And I just think that when we look at ourselves as being ordinary, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be to think that it puts you at a disadvantage, because in so many ways it will create who you are as a person. It will create your ability to figure things out and to make things happen. So when I talk about ordinary being your superpower, then that's what I'm going on about. And also, when I get to this point in my life, and ordinary is my superpower, because it means that I am that much more relatable to you guys. I mean, like, you see me as someone just like you. I'm a wife, I'm a mum, I'm a, I don't have a big education. I've got a diploma in nursing, and I went to the local high school, which was actually pretty average, but really average. But I had no huge advantages in my upbringing and creating who I am. And pretty much, if I can do any of this, so can you. All right. My husband's just about catching up with me behind me, but he's off to go for a run, one of those weird things. So this is just so give a little bit of context. We live in the middle of nowhere in Ayrshire. We're half a mile up a very rough driveway, and then we've got this 4.5 miles of single track road down to the local town, which is not very big. But so when you see me driving in this car, I am filming it on that 4.5 miles of single track road. I do have to pay a bit of attention. It's a little bit windy, and because it's single track, if there's traffic coming the other way, you saw me wave the postie past, have to pull over and let people pass. So this is the life in the middle of nowhere in Ayrshire. All right, once again, I hope you're having a great day. It is a whole 4 degrees warmer today than it was yesterday, and the sun's not shining quite so much, but at least it's not raining, which is usual at this time of the year in Scotland. All right, take care now, and I'm just coming up to good on you. Big tractor pulling out. He's figured out that he needs to wait for us. All right, I will hopefully maybe catch you tomorrow. All right, see you then. Bye now.